It is neither fast or slow. It does not fly by or stand still. It will neither wait nor pass me by. It is neither hard nor easy. I have neither of it as not enough or too much. I have exactly what I make of it. You know, this concept of time and compounding this week that we're talking about purpose. And it's interesting to think about time because a lot of people have a story about time. No doubt time is relative. And if you think about that for a second, relativity is usually in the eye of the beholder. Meaning that you will look at time and see time based on your experiences, based on however you choose to see it. You see, time is a mindset. It is a mindset. And I asked a bigger question here recently. And this bigger question is the concept of, what if I could maximize every minute of every day? And this is not, some of you are like, oh my gosh, you know, this guy is getting to the point of like, oh, time is like, he's never going to relax. No. We're talking about, even in relaxation, to be maximized. And I've often asked this question from a standpoint of when I go on vacation or have to take a trip where I'm out of my normal routine and this routine gets shifted. For instance, I'm gonna carve a couple days off of work and I'm going to do this. I get a lot done. It's like everything that needs to get done in this condensed amount of time will get done. And it has nothing to do with the vacation as much as my mindset in the aspects of this. I got to get this done. I just create urgency. You see, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this at this point, you are doing one of two things with your time. You are creating urgency or latency. Say that again. You are creating urgency or latency. 1,440 minutes. That's all you are granted. In fact, all you're granted is just 1 minute. And it's passing. And it's passing. You're granted a minute. By minute, by minute, by minute. I think you would all agree that they are gifts. They are gifts. But have you considered, you know, if you hit the snooze button, you took 10 of those minutes. You take 10 of those minutes and put them back into, what? Latency mode. I have a friend that when he gets up, when an alarm goes off, doesn't matter if we're out hunting, or doesn't matter where, and if he's listening to this, he'll know who he is, pops up. I mean, he's just boom, ready to go. There's not a hesitation, there's not a snooze, there's nothing, it's just go. Now, I don't know what's in his mindset of maybe years gone by, maybe times in the past when he hit snooze, it just becomes miserable. It becomes just this wallowing in it. And it's so true that snooze, that extra 10 minutes is not going to make a difference. It really isn't. You can tell yourself like, oh my gosh, I just need more. I need more. And you create this mindset around it. Or you hit the floor running with such passion and purpose and urgency that this is a gift. This is why I love to see the sun come up. I just let our little cats out. I don't like cats. I've said that for the longest time. Mainly because I have some sort of allergies. It's my only allergy. But I've actually told myself that story for a long time. I can hang out with the cats and be okay. But I just let the cats out. And they go outside and they inhale. They roll in the dirt. This is their first thing. They roll around. And then they wait for the sun to hit them. They go on to their spots, inhaling the air, taking some breaths in, looking around, seeing what nature has, and then waiting for that warmth of the sun. And they inhale those moments. My point is, you are given these gifts as well. You're given these gifts as well. And what you do with it is totally up to you. You see, time doesn't fly by unless you have a mindset and see it that way. Time is not hard. Time's not easy unless you make it that way. And so the question for you today, and the tip if you choose to accept it, is to question, are you maximizing your time? Or are you wasting your time? And I've said this before, somewhere north of 40 days a year, 40 days a year is spent on Facebook alone. And that's consumed in minutes. It's consumed in little bits of time throughout your day. 2 and 3 hours of Facebook a day. Just scrolling through 5 minutes at the DMV, 10 minutes at the dentist, whatever it may be. But see, when you start to shift and ask the question, could I create that same urgency like I was going on vacation? Could I create an urgency with my time that is so purposeful that by the time I do hit the pillow and fall asleep, I know that I've inhaled every moment that I could? And this is a question that I'm asking. So I'm asking it of you as I'm asking it of myself. That could not every step, could not every move treat time like it was an amazing gift? Could it treat time like it was my last? Could you continue to live a life at a pace that was your last moment? Given to you, bottled up, put in a box that you open. You're sitting here in front of a box and somebody says this is your last moment. Open it wisely. Use it wisely. What would you do? What would love look like if it was its last moments? What would sight look like? What would you see in your last moment? What kind of beauty would be inhaled? What would breath feel like as you took your last breath? The inhale. What would the sounds sound like? What words would you speak? What would you say if they were the last words in the last moment? You see, these are all concepts. And I've mentioned this before, that it's really easy to die for something. When you think about it for a second, it's really easy to die for something because it's over. But to live for something, to live on purpose, boy, that's a lot harder. Because it requires you to look at time like this and to actually inhale each moment and have each moment be purposeful, meaning on the direction that feeds your purpose. So lastly, the question is, could you maximize this time like it was your last? And what would you fill it up with? If you are going to feed time, or time is going to serve your purpose, however you want to say it, what would each one of those minutes look like? Structured. And I'm not talking about purpose like my purpose is my business. Your purpose might be the little one sitting next to you. If you're listening to this in the car and you're driving, turn to your right. There's somebody there that's your purpose. That's okay. And it should be. And we balance all these things. But when we're with family, we are engaged like it's our last moment. When we're at work, we're moving like it's our last minute of the day to get enough in, like we can feel like we're on purpose, that we exhaust those minutes. We bleed time for everything that it has. And if you fall short, does it really matter? If you've given everything that you can in every moment throughout that day, but you fall short on something, it's definitely going to be better than it was. And so you try. And God willing, you wake up the next day and you're granted another 1440. Heck, at that point, you're granted a minute. And it comes at you. And you've done approximately 11 minutes with me. And so these 11 minutes with me that you've spent out of your 1440 today does what? Does what for you? Does it kick you into action? Does it kick you into a place that is better? Does it kick you into a mindset of maximizing this time as it is or could be your last? What would you do? What would that look like? For some of you, this is going to require you to get deep on your purpose. Why are you here? What are you doing? For others, it's going to be one of just refining that purpose and taking your time like a knife, honing it down, honing that knife into a sharp blade so that you may be able to precision life and precision that time effectively to put you in the direction of your purpose on a daily basis. But it is in the questions that you see we find the essence of life. And in this question, you will find yourself looking at time differently. So full circle. Time is relative. And it's relative to you. You get to see time as you choose to see it. Because you can control you. And you can control your actions from which you do with this time. So, I challenge you to love a little bit harder. To see things a little bit more clearly. To speak a little bit more impeccably. To hear, not just to listen, but to embrace. To feel, literally to feel a moment as it's slipping away into the past. To feel it. Possibly, for some of you, the last time. But for some of you, the first time to ever really feel it. To live each moment with a lot of passion. But that passion is coming from the direction of your purpose. 1440. We're knocking on 14 minutes right now. And challenge you to orchestrate that time as if it was your last. That's all I got for you. The tips and the tricks to get you up and above living a life of thriving, not just surviving, in love and light. Every day bringing you tips and tricks like this and challenging time. Time is relative. It's relative to you. Talk to you tomorrow.